Hey guys, welcome back to another daily YouTube video, what I'm known for. Thank you very much for coming on by. I'm just going to be reading through some of the negative reviews for Bebop, the Netflix version. I just want to let you all know that, obviously, as you probably already do, I have a more proper review on the main channel. If for some godforsaken reason you are seeing this and haven't seen that, please go watch that. But without further ado, I'm going to not get into the reviews. Not yet at all. I want to tell you right now, it's 2:47 a.m. when I'm recording this right now, and I just got done with a roughly 13-hour bout with some of the worst food poisoning I've ever had in my entire life. It was awful. It was just straight up, it was one of the worst things ever. It was so bad. I was throwing up in like 5 to 6 chunk bouts every 20 to 30 minutes from 9 a.m. to, I guess it was around like 1:30, 2 p.m. And then after 2 p.m., it was like an hour between 2 and 3 whenever I threw up again. And then it was like another hour and a half, like to 4:30 whenever I did it again. And now I haven't anymore from basically 4:30 onwards. It's now 2:47 in the morning. So, oh my gosh, so bad. Anyways, so here's some reviews. Jake Tropola Film Inquiry says, as it stands, live-action version is a complete waste of time, lacking any wonder and existing as an unfitting adaptation of Watanabe's classic series. So true. So true. Gustavo Pineda from Cine Premiere. I don't know how to read names or names of publications. Like so many adaptations before it, the live-action Cowboy Bebop series fails to justify its existence. Full review in Spanish. Overall score 2.5 out of 5. I think that's fair. Sorry, I'm still reeling. My head hurts. I feel a little disconnected. I strangely go really dry and then really like my mouth gets watery and it's just like I'm dehydrated and all the blood vessels in my face have busted. I feel so bad. Still. But here I am with daily content. The number one thing I'm known for. Oh, this is Joel Keller from The Decider. Cowboy Bebop isn't cringingly bad, but it's also not particularly memorable either. There's a whole lot of action and other stretched out effects-laden scenes, but it's all at the price of making its characters into people that we care about watching. Ooh, good insight, Joel Keller from The Decider. Graham Tuckett from stuff.co.nz. Get a better name of your publication, not your actual name. I would never tell you to change your name, Graham. Cowboy Bebop isn't really smarter than the source material. It's a lot less fun to hang out. Oh, but it's a lot less fun to hang out with. That's really weird. It isn't really smarter than the original, but it is a lot less fun to hang out with. That's weird though, because it implies that it's like on the same tier of intelligence. I feel like it's probably less smart and more fun to hang out with, if anything, because all the subtlety and interesting stuff, all the themes, all the literally anything that made it good and long-lasting series has been stripped out and baked in the sun for 50 hours until all the skin burned and coiled off. And then they've turned up the stupid Zoomer writing style that's present in every stupid teeny bopper garbage drama show that you see on dime a dozen Amazon Prime specials. You got that instead and turned up. So I feel like that's fun, you know. Original Bebop is slow and methodical and prodding. Or proddling. Proddling, is that the right word? Yeah. I disagree with you, Grime Tuckett. David Hogan from hoganreviews.co.uk. British man, I see. Classic David. Full of a child's idea of adult content like swearing, nudity, and crude sex references, plus a terrible rewriting of key characters. This wasn't even close to Bebop. Dang! The Brits got something going right now. 2 out of 5 is what they gave it. Kalina Rivera from Pajiba says, ultimately, the show's greatest flaw is its underwhelming desire to emulate the original series. I think that's kind of true. If this wasn't Bebop, it would be a show that nobody cared about, and some people saw and crapped on. Maybe it would get like a Drew Gooden video or like a Mista Gigi type of video where they were like, "Wow, Netflix is cringy new special," which is fine. I like watching those videos. But I think it would probably just go into that area, like with like Tall Girl and stuff that had been talked about. It's not even as bad as that. It's better than like stuff like that. But the fact that it got Cowboy Bebop attached to it is a double-edged sword. On one hand, probably not very many people would care about it if it was completely separate from Bebop. But on the other hand, because it's connected to Bebop and it is not nearly as good, it's offensive to anybody who has any sort of actual like comprehension when they view things. All right. Sam Stone from CBR. Cowboy Bebop brings a lot of style and flash, but fails to tap into what made the classic anime so great. Fair. Rohan Nahar from the Indian Express. With enough Dutch angles per minute to give Danny Boyle an excuse to sue on intellectual property grounds, the live-action Cowboy Bebop isn't disorienting, but it is a victim of an element known as Netflix bloat. This person, honestly, just from this clip they gave, I gotta say, Rohan, he might be the best writer that I've seen. I really like the flow and the sort of visualization of things. Honestly, Rohan, solid writer. Jean Nguyen from Nerd Reactor says, Cowboy Bebop has some bright spots, but they are overshadowed by weak direction, an underwhelming supporting cast, uninspiring fight choreography. I agree. The fight choreography is bad. I don't know. It's not even bad. It's poorly... It feels half-assed, I guess, would be the best way of putting it. Anyways, and weird edits to the original Cowboy Bebop music. I don't really care about the music change. I think the music is fine, to be honest. I really don't have an issue with the music. It's still did I say Yoko Kanno? Is it Yoko Kanno? Is that who it is? I don't know. I'm not gonna fact check myself. It's still the original lady who did the music. Not quite as memorable, but yeah, there's like remixes of old classic tracks. I don't know. I didn't think they were they weren't like so much worse that I was like, oh, I don't know. This is just fine. James Marsh. South China, The Morning Post. Like a lousy cover band half-heartedly butchering your favorite power ballads, Andre Nemec and Christopher Yost's inaugural 10-episode season is out of tune, out of tempo, and seemingly oblivious to what made Cowboy Bebop so special in the first place. Very critical, I tell you what. But, yeah. Whatever. Jeffrey Zhang, Strange Harbors. Cowboy Bebop doesn't trust its audience, but worst of all, it doesn't trust its own namesake. C-. Nice. That's some good writing. Cutting, to the point. Garrett Green from Black Nerd Problems. Kind of like an anime Uncanny Valley. As close as it gets to nailing it, it just falls short. Yeah, there's aspects that get close to nailing it, I would say. But there's so much about specifically Bebop that it doesn't come close to hitting. Brian Lowry, a top critic, CNN.com. Somehow, the producers have managed to make a show that appears to have provoked skepticism among the original's devotees, without effectively inviting newcomers into the party. Whatever the case, the chemistry feels off. Wow, for a top critic, that was probably one of the most unenthusiastic things that I've read so far on the snippets. Allison Foreman from Mashable. If it had the courage to stand out on its own 2 rocket boosters, maybe I'd feel differently. But it didn't, so I don't. Bang. I like the bang. That's pretty good. Judy Berman of Time Magazine. Ding! Top critic. Sadly, it misses the core appeal of Cowboy Bebop, which finds its deepest resonance in a richly textured surface. Aww. I agree. I agree with what she said there. A big agree. That's basically my video in summary. Go watch my video if you haven't. Go like the other video. Like this video. Actually, can you send me a picture? Can you draw a picture of me? Can you draw a picture of me either as my real person with all the blood vessels in my face busted because I just got done puking 100 million times, or can you draw me with the bag on the... just draw a picture of me next to Time Magazine. Okay. Mike Hale at the New York Times. Dang! Another big title. Top critic. In its resolute ordinariness, the main value of this new Bebop would be to drive you back to watch the old one. Fair. I think as a criticism and statement, though, it's a bit predictable. I think the way that this criticism was laid out was a bit too plain, too ordinary. Andrew Mack from Screen Anarchy. A mind-boggling decision to move the anime's underlying narrative of Spike's criminal past to the forefront not only makes the adaptation darker, but also less entertaining. Last time I checked, it was called Cowboy Bebop, not Syndicate Bebop. Fair. That's fair enough, I think. Yeah, it's fair. I don't know, there's something about it that bothers me about what they said, but, I guess I agree with it overall. Now we're going to throw in a little twist. Let's do a positive review from everybody's least favorite anything, The Guardian. Which, by the way, The Guardian, their name, Guardian, is based off of the Guardians mentioned in Plato's Republic. And if anybody who's read Plato's Republic knows that the idea of Guardians are heavily flawed and fundamentally would be a horrible thing. So naming yourself after naming your publication after what is ostensibly one of the most disgusting and terrifying aspects of Plato's Republic, it was a really odd choice. But, at the end of the day, people either fall in as pro-Plato or pro-Aristotle. They're either absolute psychopathic evil people or they're cool guys. So, with that covered, nothing against Grime Virtue, of course. Wait, is this the second person whose name is Grime? Man, that must be a more common name than I think. Anyways, Top Critic. At a time when popular sci-fi has done gritty and self-consciously dark, the caffeinated fever dream of Cowboy Bebop feels like a loving distillation of the original and a breath of fresh air. Fair, right? I'll say the first half of that is fair. I do think sci-fi gets a little too self-serious way too often. There's not enough sci-fi that's just willing to have fun with itself. But the thing is, Bebop was already willing to have fun with itself. And where the self-consciously dark, the quote-unquote dark, with Bebop, it was actually genuine. And it inspired so many others that were obviously pale imitations. So just because other people did a crappy job imitating Bebop doesn't mean that when somebody doesn't even put the effort in to try imitating Bebop whenever they've got the Bebop namesake, that it should be seen as a breath of fresh air. If anything, they should have just made a different show. That's stupid. It's dumb. Don't like it. Brianna Lawrence from The Mary Sue. It's a shame because I really do feel like this could have been a pretty solid adaptation. Well, that said nothing about the material whatsoever, but you know what? It is a shame. It is. Sharon Nicole from Geek Girl Riot said, the original Bebop is improvisational and a little bit abstract. It has movement and flow, and it feels alive. This Netflix adaptation is like a robot playing jazz. That's awesome. That's awesome. You go. Hell yeah. I love that. Every now and then I love writing, and I love like little metaphors and descriptions things. A robot playing jazz, describing the Netflix adaptation of Cowboy Bebop as a robot playing jazz. That's just smart. That's just fun. You know what I mean? It's a good mental image. It fits perfectly. It applies to Bebop specifically with the jazz notes. All the notes are there, more or less, but they're not played with feeling. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to read from Austin Burke. There was a guy named Austin Burke who went to my high school. This is 110% not him. There is no way that this is the guy. The guy that I knew named Austin Burke, he probably is dead. I don't know. Maybe. I grew up in a kind of scuffed town, so. Anyways, Austin Burke /Flick, Fan Nation, okay? Flick Fan Nation, okay. It's weird how it's registered on the site. From its distinct style to phenomenal score, Cowboy Bebop has a lot going for it, but story itself is a bit rough around the edges. The pieces are there for something great, but the execution could have overall been better. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I actually don't disagree. Even though this is technically a positive review, it's a 6 out of 10 positive review. So, But I do actually find myself agreeing with this, even though I generally see it like, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't Death Note. It wasn't the Death Note adaptation. It wasn't the Death Note Netflix adaptation. It was definitely like a semi-competent piece. It just wasn't competent enough or consistently. Yeah, okay. You get a pass, Austin. Roxana Haddadi from New York Magazine /Vulture, top critic. As the season continues, Cowboy Bebop becomes an imbalanced mixture of successful innovations and tedious experiments. Well, I think that's running the... So, you know how we have like the plain people who don't describe very much or very well. They use very simple language and don't get across very many ideas. And then you've got the people who I really like, who use complex and specified metaphors to visualize their critiques in a way that's very like engaging to a reader. This is on the opposite end. This is on the other end of using stupid, simple words that don't really say much. This is using super complex, over-the-top words that aren't saying anything specific, which is equally irritating, except for this comes across a little pretentious. IMO. Sorry, top critic. Mikael Zoria from Espinoff. There are good and varied visual ideas, but the execution never quite lives up to its intentions. Full review in Spanish. Yeah. I agree with this. Agree with that. Shirley Lee, The Atlantic. Oh, that's a big publication. Top critic. The new Bebop looks singular, but feels generic. It recites the melody of its predecessor, but it can't find the same rhythm. This is like the 80th. This is like the 80th review to use music stuff, and I know it's not their fault because they put theirs out on November 15th. Which means they probably put their music metaphor out before some of the other people I read. But I feel like this is the worst music metaphor used so far. Because I can't say that it recites the melody. Really. The melody is the core of the experience. The other parts are what builds around it. It's the melody that's the most lacking, if anything. If we're to take her metaphor as we see it. Anyways. Clint Worthington. Consequence. A smart showrunner would have positioned this show as an accompaniment to the anime, rather than a lifeless remix of elements to the original show that the original show already did so much better. I agree with that. Nothing else to say with that. Brian Lloyd, entertainment.ie. Netflix's live-action Cowboy Bebop can't this stuff together. What? Cowboy Bebop can't this stuff together? Why bother when the original anime is on Netflix? I mean, true. I would say that you didn't really say anything, though. I mean, yeah, it's like, why bother? But I don't know. There wasn't a lot added there that I found super interesting. Emma Stefanski from Thrillist. Netflix's much hyped and much anticipated go at Cowboy Bebop has a lot going for it. Yet it stumbles where it's supposed to cruise, whiffs instead of claiming the bullseye. Nice. See, yeah, she's kind of sitting in that middle ground of writers that I really like, actually. It's good. I agree. And our final review, not for any particular reason. I've just been sitting here for 20 minutes, and it's time to stop. Raphael Modemeyer from The Collider. A soulless remake of the landmark anime series, one that is constantly drawing attention to the original while changing enough to take away the impact of what it's trying to emulate. Lots of words, a little wordy, I think, yeah, but I agree. It is a soulless remake. Sorry. Although there was soul in it, but the soul wasn't for Bebop. There was a soul in the creation of the Bebop remake. But that soul wasn't like held within the original work, if you get what I'm saying. And so it is soulless whenever you look at it and how shallow it is and how much it overlooks the things that made Bebop long-lasting. And yet, I feel like there was a lot of heart and artistry put into a lot of the individual elements. Anyways, hey, welcome. You should subscribe. I literally just got done throwing up my guts for 12 hours and busting all the blood vessels in my face. So I would love to see you around here again. I post daily content, as you can tell, just every single day. Not a single day I don't post content on here. But for real, I'm going to be posting the start of my 34 plus part series, scripted analysis, not off the cup garbage like this. Scripted analysis of Persona 4 Golden starting in January. So I hope that you will be around for that. I'm running a little behind on that series, despite me dumping hundreds of, it's probably hundreds of hours at this point into it. But yeah. Oh, it's easily hundreds of hours. What am I talking about? Because clip gathering took forever as well. All right. Anyway, with that, before I push myself too much and end up getting myself sick again, I'm going to leave it off here. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't seen the main channel video, please check that out. And I love you. I love you.